Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to He Said, a look at the world from a seasoned Black man's perspective. I'm your host, Alvin King, and thank you for joining us today, this Friday, February the 10th. Well, let me just say real quick that whatever that beaver or whatever that they put up to say that there was going to be 6 more weeks of winter, not true, lied. Not true. I forgot what you even called that little critter. But we definitely will not have 6 more weeks of winter. Anyway, welcome to our show tonight, everybody. Again, we are happy that you are here and joining us. We are going to have a ball this evening. You hear what I'm saying? We are so excited about our show tonight. We have with us the film producer, the film director of Nana's Boys, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Ashton Pina is here with us tonight. This guy has when I say golden smile, you guys don't even know, okay? It's absolutely like for real, okay? But Ashton is here with us tonight. He's going to talk about the film. It is incredible. We have all seen it. We cannot wait to share it with you. And this, like I said, is going to be a ball tonight. And since I'm on the subject of talking about balls, that's right, clean your mind. I'm talking about the Powerball, ladies and gentlemen. This week, one person won the Powerball for $754 million in Seattle, Washington. And I'm on the show, so I'm going to congratulate them, whoever they are, and say thank you. But I just want to ask you all, do any of you all get mad when you hear someone has won that kind of money? I mean, really, do you really? I mean, do you get mad? Hey, how you doing, Monica? Do you guys get mad? Because I do. But I'm centered, and I am congratulating that person or persons, whoever won all that money, and I'm going to wish them well. And again, on this whole subject of balls, this week we have had a couple of them in the air. As you know, this spy balloon has been up in the air causing chaos. And, the White House security, they shot it down. But my question about all of this is, it has been here before. The intelligence agency said 2 years ago that this same type of balloon or whatever, was here and they didn't do anything about it under the previous administration. So, and then on top of that, today, they announced that they shot down a second balloon that they shot down over Alaska. So the question becomes, do they really know what's in these balloons? And they're calling China, but now China's going ghost on them and not calling them back. It's just a mess. I don't care how you look at it. But, I keep asking myself, do I feel safe? Do you? I certainly don't. Okay, but keep your eyes on this because there's a lot to be unfolded about these mysterious balloons that are coming up in the air. And it is Super Bowl weekend, ladies and gentlemen. If you all didn't know, if you've been sleeping under a rock. So I'm going to give kudos to the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs on their quest for that Super Bowl title. And I didn't know this, but Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts, they're making history as two of the first Black starting quarterbacks to ever, face off in the Super Bowl. Now, I don't know. I look at sports, but I just thought that there had to have been another, two quarterbacks that were Black that had faced off in the Super Bowl, but not true. But giving them kudos, you guys go and get that what do you call it? Win that game this weekend. And Rihanna is she's the halftime, act this year. She said she's going to cram 17 years of music into 13 minutes of performance. So we'll see how that goes. Come on, Rihanna, bring it. And last but not least, before we get on with the show, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to show y'all, I love me some fashion, but y'all need to look at these boots. MSCHF, the big red boots, ladies and gentlemen. They are $350, okay? And I wear a size 13. This is the Canadian, what do you call it, basketball player. They call him SG, what do you call him, SG, I know he has a name. They call him SGF and SGA. And this guy is wearing these boots. Now I wear 13. So I don't know how these boots are going to look on my feet, but at any rate, he's carrying it. But this is what's now in fashion, ladies and gentlemen. So welcome to our show tonight. I can't do what I do without the guys who help me do it. So if you all are strapped in, let's get ready for the chat. And get my guys in here. Hey.
What's life without a mug? He said mug.
I don't know. There you go. I now know.
We got a mug, okay?
We got 3 mugs actually up on the screen right now.
How you guys doing tonight? Y'all are silly. Hey, George Pringle. Welcome to the show tonight.
Hey, George.
I think I said hello to Monica. Welcome to the show.
You
Gregory,
did.
welcome to our show tonight.
You did.
You know, what Gregory said something about those boots. What did he say about those boots? Did he say something about those boots?
Those super oversized ball caps are also in style.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Kanye West tried to pull it off too earlier with his whole interpretation of it, but these have just taken it by storm because they're giving a cartoon effect or something like that. So but I don't think I can put them on this size 13 foot and be comfortable. But
I'm not going to comment.
That's what fashion's all about, right? Owning it.
No, actually, no.
What is it about, Bobby?
Those boots are horrendous, and anybody who pays $350 for those things, I've got some swampland I want to sell to them. Look at those things, please. What is fashionable about that?
It's fashion.
It's very Wallace and Gromit, I must say.
They look like pieces on a game puzzle.
Yeah. Yes. I wouldn't wear them, but I don't want anyone to ever say anything to me about my Crocs.
Well, yeah, I used to be a Crocs person, but now I'm what do you call those things? I'm looking at them right now. Oh, wait a minute, they are Crocs, but now they're rubber. They are rubber.
Clearly, they mean a lot too. You don't even know what they are.
No, they do.
They're Crocs.
No, they're Crocs because I wear all these different styles. But anyway, you know, while we're talking about these boots that are going crazy and all this fashion, did you all see the Grammys this week? Did you see what happened, or did you all pay attention to the Grammys and see some of the fashion that was, you know, crossing our screens this week?
I did.
We did, yeah. You like, not like? I mean, we don't have pictures of people, but what was your kind of overall take or whatever?
I thought people were more tasteful than I expected, to be very honest with you. I think the Grammys always has, whereas the Oscars tends to be a bit more glamorous, old school Hollywood. I think people allow for a little bit of expression when it comes to the Grammys. They're musicians. They're kind of on the edge. Yeah, you know. So you see a little bit more cutting edge, but I thought it was interesting in some ways. And I love elegance. In some ways, it was a little boring. I actually thought there would be a bit more cutting edge fashion at the Grammys than what I saw.
I'm totally agreeing with you. Yeah.
They must have heard us cutting them down and changed their game. I did love that Jasmine Sullivan gave a really amazing nod to Phyllis Hyman. I thought that her outfit was gorgeous.
Yeah. Oh, she did. Now, see, I haven't even looked at the fashions, and I didn't see her. Well, kudos to her. Yeah. You know, I saw some pictures floating on the internet, but I didn't know what that was about. So, so that's what it was. Jasmine Sullivan was giving her. I have to give, you know, and I haven't seen all the pictures, but I'm going to give a style nod right now to Jennifer Lopez. She made an entrance, and I have to give credit where it's due. She kind of brought it. She kind of brought it, and she told all the girls, if you're going to wear anything with a train, you better train it before you come out on this stage. Okay.
Oh, wow.
She did it, and she did it with class, and she was still revealing or whatever, but she left a lot to the imagination, but she put it down. So
Are you actually talking about the dress that she wore when she made a presentation?
Yes.
I didn't like that.
You didn't?
No.
Oh, man. It was kind of her style. And like I said, the train was doing things that most people couldn't handle. And she handled it. I
don't know if my friends will ever let me live this down when I say this, but actually I thought one of the more interesting fashion choices was made by Cardi B.
Oh no, I give you that, but that was on the red carpet. The blue. Oh, you mean on
Yeah,
stage?
the blue,
The
the red
blue.
carpet look
No,
that she
no,
had.
I loved it, but I didn't see the whole thing. Like I said, I haven't seen it all. I even posted
Yeah.
about it because she was fire. Yeah,
Hmm.
I give it to her, but she didn't wear that on the stage. But
Hmm.
yeah. Well, while they were blowing up the Grammy stage with their fashion, ladies and gentlemen, we had two neo Nazis, okay, that was trying to blow up an electrical grid in Baltimore
Right
to
here.
shut down Baltimore.
Yep.
This is where this world that we live in are coming. They were trying to put Baltimore in the dark.
In the dark.
In the dark.
And we're very intentional about it being a community that has a huge percentage of African Americans. That they were trying to intentionally locate an area that would impact and inflict. I'm sorry, pain and suffering and to a Black community. It's just I'm amazed at where people are, and as you said, getting up every day. When you think about all of the things that we face in the day-to-day existence of life, that there are people who get up and that's what their goal for the day is.
That's what their goal is. Well, we just have to, let you all know that that's what's going on in the world. Okay, and these kind of people may be sitting next to you on a train.
In those big red boots.
In those big red boots. So keep your eyes open. Okay.
Yes.
So are you all ready to get this amazing person by the name of Ashton Pina on our platform tonight?
Yes.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. So, ladies and gentlemen, look, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce this guy. Okay. Ashton Pina. He is an award-winning storyteller who is deeply committed to amplifying the voices of diverse characters and creators. Ashton has received an MFA and MBA, and he's closely supported Radha Blank on the 40-year-old version, and has been blessed with amazing opportunities like working with Lena Waithe and Beyonce. The New Bedford native launched a nonprofit to award scholarships to HIV positive college students and supports the LGBTQ plus youth filmmakers through the Queer Storytelling Project, in addition to being an amazing film director. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the He Said stage, Mr. Ashton Pina.
Yes.
What an introduction. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Well deserved, my brother. Well deserved. Man, it just seems like I want to call you more than a storyteller, because I even watched you in some behind the scenes things, and I was like, look at him work. Look at him work. I was like, do your thing, man. So kudos to you, and thank you for taking your time out to be with us on this show tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, totally. It's something to just be in your purpose and be working in it, and I think that's what you get to see, is that I'm living a dream and living out what the creator set me to live on this planet to do, and that is to inspire and empower through stories people to just be outrageous and bold and risk-taking. And I hope that this film is really just kind of a start of that, in my short films as well. But this is my first feature, and being able to share it with you all and this audience, especially during Black History Month, is super powerful. Hearing the opening around this power grid and Fenty Bowl and the black quarterbacks, like, it's an amazing time to be a Black person in the midst of all the struggles and things that we face. But the one thing I love about being Black is that we overcome, and we're always going to be phenomenal. So.
Somebody agrees.
You better go. Somebody heard you. They were passing that plate. That's right, Ashton. That's right. Tell it.
Let the horn speak.
Again, congratulations on Nana's Boys. And I'm going to kick off our conversation by asking you this question. Ashton, how would you describe Ashton Pina?
Wow. How would I describe Ashton Pina? I would describe him as joyful, adventurous, bold, and just down to earth. I'm really grateful that my family has supported me in every adventure. Being queer is not always the most easiest thing, but my family has always loved on me, and that's why this film is dedicated to my grandmas, because through this experience, I got to meet my paternal grandmother for the first time, and it was just really amazing to know that through all the years, I'm 34, through all the years that I've never met this woman, she was still, praying and manifesting for me, and through that, this film was able to become possible. So I'm just a family person, full of love, full of joy, and gratitude.
You didn't mention single. Are you single?
I am. I have friends. Friends.
Hey, friends.
Friends are good. Friends are good.
But he's like, but there's no ring on it. He's
There's
like,
we have exceptional benefits.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm full of love. So
okay, we're at 10 minutes in, and we're on it. Okay, let's go, boys.
Look, this is a platform that is designed to get people to express who they are freely, and
Amen.
Someone who needed to hear exactly what you just said.
Now,
hair flip and all.
If that Philadelphia Eagles quarterback happened to hop into my DMs, I would not be single anymore.
You're good with it.
You put a ring on this finger easily. Hey, Jalen.
Oh my goodness!
Fly
Put it out
like
there.
an eagle.
Claim it. Claim it.
Hey, I'm
All
telling
right
you.
then. Okay. Welcome to He Said.
Exactly. And you're getting the full experience. So, Ashton, we have all seen the film thanks to Scott. Hi, Scott, if you're watching.
Thank you, Scott.
What I would like to do is share the trailer so that we can catch our audience up on the magnificentness that is Nana's Boys.
Wonderful. Well, here it is.
Happy birthday.
Welcome to the Dirty 30 Club.
Oh my God. Cute, we have to have this party.
You only turned 30 once.
I have no plan, no job, no purpose.
Mari, a job doesn't define your purpose. There's been an unknown explosion in the area.
A mandatory lockdown is in effect.
No power, no phones. We come before you as your humble servants, God. We pray that these batteries work, Jesus. Please, Lord.
Why don't we have some fun?
Something changed in Mexico.
You said you was gonna propose to me on that trip.
You always jump shit when it's time to finish something.
It always has to go your way, the way that you planned.
Am I enough for you, Amar?
I am exhausted to living up to your impossible standards.
Can't wait. And expect life to happen in the snap of a moment. You do need a plan.
Life you live through instant moments, not prolonged plans.
Nana's Boys, ladies and
Nana's
gentlemen.
Boys, ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen. Nana's
Come on.
Boys.
Yes.
Nana's Boy. Look, I real quick, I just have to tell you that when I first saw it took me back to 2016. We had like Snowmageddon here, and I was on a date with someone and took them to the mountains to visit some people, and it started snowing, and I brought them back, and they had to stay with me for 5 days.
Oh, wow.
Ah,
Where were y'all in the process? Like beginning dating, a little seasoned into the dating?
I wanted him to go home day 2.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Because it took me back there, and I have that in my journal, but I was like, that darn Ashton. Okay, right.
Wow. Well, Esther, what inspired you to create Nana's Boys?
I was in an intention to create a feature film probably back in 2018. And as you can imagine, the resources that it takes and the things, and as a Black queer artist, and Hollywood's not shoveling out money to storytellers like myself. And so, as you mentioned in my bio, I got to work with Rada Blank on the 40-year-old version, which is on Netflix. And she was able to go to Sundance and get on a Netflix. And I was able to be on that process from beginning to end. And so I really got to see what it took to make a feature film. film. I got my MFA, I got my MBA, I have all the tools. And after this experience, I said, I'm going to do it with or without the big budget or the amazing actors. I mean, I do have amazing actors, but you know, the talent, quote unquote talent. I just went ahead and did it. And as I lost my job at the top of the pandemic, I was working for this amazing chocolate company. They sent me to Madagascar. Like I was like in the prime of my career, like doing it. And then the pandemic hit. I was also in a relationship with a woman at the time, and navigating that journey of us, you know, being in the house together all the time. And ultimately the story came about. And these characters just literally, I was able to kind of write the script in a couple weeks, and we had dates to film already, and I just needed to deliver a script. And I had been working on a couple, and this one just kind of came about in the midst of it. And my friends were dealing with things in the pandemic, and ultimately me and the girl broke up about 3 weeks after we filmed. And so this film also helped me deal with, you know, the loss of that partnership, one that I thought I would spend kind of the rest of my life with this person. And, you know, the creator had other plans. And so this film helped me deal with that breakup as well. So it helped me to inspire the creation of it. And then it helped me to work through the post process of it as well.
So Aston, was it actually shot during the pandemic?
Mm-hmm. It was shot in September 2020, and that was my apartment at the time.
Yeah.
In New York City, Washington Heights, uptown. It was quite interesting. My little sister, she shot a behind the scenes of the process of us making the film, and you can kind of see how intimate everything was. We all did the protocols of testing and trying to keep each other safe, but we're in a 1-bedroom apartment in New York City. You can imagine how tight things could be, but I had a team that showed up every day for little to no money to really help me bring this thing to life. And that's probably one of the best things, is that this crew, which is almost 40% female, non-binary, trans, was able to show up for me and really like give their all to this independent film.
So how did you mention that? How did you assemble them? And in particular, how did you choose the two characters?
So David and I have been working together for about a decade. We did a web series together called By. It's on YouTube. And that kind of formulated
and David plays which character?
Amari. David plays Amari. Yeah, the beautiful dark-skinned chocolate.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I only say that because people be always in my DMs. What's up with David? What's up with David? And David's been on P-Valley. He's been on The Politician. Like, he is super on the cusp of gonna be on a major TV show as a lead character, and I'm manifesting that for him in this moment.
Do that.
David was originally supposed to be a producer. He was just a producer on the project. In reading the script and casting, I spoke to a number of Black queer actors who I have known throughout the years or met through other people. And David read for one time for me. And once David read that one time, it was kind of like, oh my God, would you be Amari? He was like, tap me in, coach, I'm ready. And then around that, we then casted Jared, who plays Q. And they went to school together and they did a reading together. And I was just like, here we are, it's perfect. And everybody else kind of, I either knew them or they were recommended to me by somebody, and, you know, shared the script and who I was. And I think, like Alvin talked about, I think my smile is infectious, and the things that I bring to this table, it might not be big budget, but you're going to have a passionate and beautiful experience. And that's what I hope to create for these folks, and hope you get to experience that in the film as well.
Well, you know, what you just shared, you know, in reference to Bobby's question, it's really when you're in this business and being a creator like yourself, it is so important to have people that you can trust and who believe in your vision. And you just spoke. Hopefully, anybody who are listening to what you just said know that it is possible. You know, it is definitely possible to have people around you that support what you do, and it's not always about them.
Yep.
So Ashton, why do you feel it was important to have this type of portrayal of Black love?
when have we seen this before? I mean, like that's the first thing. Like I've never seen intimate Black love in this way. I mean, outside of Noah's Ark and, you know, a few other kind of stories, but even in that, there's multiple things happening going on in these stories where we get to just be with these characters who seemingly are doing well for themselves. They're not in traumatic experiences. They're not living in a hard life, like, which a lot of my friends, myself, like, we're doing pretty well for ourselves. We're not out here struggling in the ways that we were in our early 20s. We're living, thriving, and surviving in beautiful ways. And for me, I've always been somebody who wanted to showcase these characters because that's what I live. Those are my friends. Those are the people that I wanted to see more. And so that's why it was just important that I couldn't cast a white person as Q or Amari. And in previous films, like my short film In the Paint, it was supposed to be two Black characters. But that was 2015, 2016, where Black men weren't coming to play gay, even if they were gay. And so here I have two amazing queer identifying. David identifies as bisexual and Jared identifies as queer as well. We're able to just show up and give into these roles in ways that I just never imagined them to give, and even inspired me to push myself into the creativity. There's things that they helped bring out in the script that wasn't really there, that I personally try to avoid and skate around without having to say, because I didn't want every Black film to have certain things in them that I think that, you know, this film ended up bringing about. But I hope that it was done in a way that is grounded in what it looks like in today's real world.
It was.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say, the characters definitely go through some ups and downs and some things that seem familiar. Did any of this mirror your real life?
I'm waiting for my ex, the man that I was with before this woman, because one of my best friends had recently seen the film. He was like, "Is this you and him?" And I was like, "Not really, but kind of." And so I literally pulled a magnitude of things that were just either in my past experiences and what was currently going on. I think in any relationship, there's moments of being vulnerable and being honest and really trusting the person that you commit to be with to share, you know, your most intimate secrets and the most things you're most afraid of. And I think in this film, that's what these characters are struggling with, is like, hey, you're kind of pressuring me too much, but I'm afraid to really tell you because of the backlash I feel like it might make, or I'm afraid to tell you the secret because I don't want to break the bond that we established, but ultimately the bond was already breaking. And so I think this explosion that happens ultimately was just cracking it just kind of blew up things that were already kind of cracking at the surface. And I think that's what the pandemic for some of us brought to life, was that we knew we didn't want to be working and slaving these jobs all the time. We knew we needed to get some mental stability and health and get our finances in order and our health. And I think these moments in life challenge us and push us into those next chapters. And this film helped me, like I said, helped me deal with the current relationship that I was hoping to build, as well as end it in the way that it did.
Well, I wasn't going to say anything earlier about other films, but you did mention a film that when you were talking about, Noah's Ark. But when I looked at Nana's Boys, Nana's Boys, the first thing I thought was, I've never seen this before. I've never seen this type of energy before. And I compared it to other films, of which I'm not going to name, but of course, other queer films. And I thought, he has really tapped into something that feels like it can definitely happen. And it felt like it was just so real and so honest and so raw. So again, I'm going to give you some more kudos for digging wherever you had to dig to get there.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
You did it. You did it.
And what's crazy is, I don't know if you're familiar with the film Malcolm and Marie that came out on Netflix. But when that film came out, I was like, oh my God, this is my film. But it was just a straight couple. And it was a little bit more traumatic, where I think even in this film, there are things happening that are shattering, but there's still some tenderness and intimacy and love and care that you would show somebody that you've been with for 5 years, regardless of the fact if they broke your heart or are choosing not to continue. But there's still these moments of just tenderness that I'm just so proud of. And because that's who we are, we love. And even in the midst of pain and hurt, we can still find ways to show up for people in ways that are loving and caring, versus the end of that, of how, of hurtful and pain, when things are already painful and hurtful in life.
Look what someone just said about you, Ashton, right here.
Yeah, our sister Alma Gill said, I haven't seen the film,
but I'm in love
with Ashton.
Alma has her own show on NNPA called Ask Alma. Thank you, Alma.
Exactly.
We're in love with him too.
Stand behind that football player, though, sister. It's already been out there.
Brushed over.
So, Ashton, I want to ask you, that many artists will say that, the best art is open to interpretation, that you want your viewers to walk away with various things. Certainly, as I watched it, I'm not going to give any details because I don't want to do any, reveals or anything, but there are some very heavy declarations made between these two people who love one another, that could certainly rock the best of relationships throughout, and they kind of climb. There's a clear trajectory of things happening there. Is there something, though, even though you don't want to give them, the tidy ending with the bow right on top of it, but if, as the director of this film, if there's one thing that people walk away with from the film, the complexities of relationships, or what is it you hope your viewers will walk away with?
I mean, life is a roller coaster, and we're literally on this ride, buckled in, doing loop-de-loops, down drops, catching the G-forces. And if you're honest with yourself and with the people that you choose to love, whether they're friends, family, then they'll be along in the ride with you. And I think I love that this film hopefully brings up so many things for people to then check in with themselves, to be like, okay, well, how am I feeling? What do I need to do so that I can love myself more and more, so that I can pour into others more and more, so that I can choose myself when I need to. I can say no whenever I need to. And that yes comes from an honest, loving place. And I think a lot of us are just kind of on this hamster wheel, looking to just get to somewhere that honestly is probably not where you're going to end up. And so it's if we're honest and we choose in on ourselves and the joy and the adventure that life offers us, I think that so much more beauty and fun gets to happen. And we only have one of these things called life. We only know we only have one of them. And so why not have the most fun, the most joy that you can possibly have in the midst of everything else that's happening in the world? Spy bubbles and, climate change and, the interest rates going up, whatever it is, like you can still choose joy, even, in loss, you can still choose joy and realize that it's always going to come out better if you choose it.
Amen.
Where's that plate when we need to pass it?
I'm just going to take a sip from the he said. Okay. There you go.
You all better listen.
You got 3 sips right there, Ashton. There you go. The mugs were up, bro. The mugs were up.
Wow.
Well,
wow.
So, Ashton, it's possible that I'm just sensitive to things like this, but I even noticed that it's in your trailer. There's a thread of spirituality and religion that kind of runs through the film, and with one of the characters in particular. Why was that important to show that and to present that?
For us, a lot of us come from grandmothers and mothers who were heavy into church. And so that's where we, might have kissed our first boy, or had our first crush, or, maybe the pastor was super sexy, and that's why you went to church every Sunday.
Oh, Lord.
But as I got older, I got to kind of ground myself in what spirituality and religion meant for me. And the Bible thumpers and the people love to use, God hates gays and these verses in the Bible to, manipulate. But ultimately, if God is love, then he has no room for hate. And so I think as somebody who was, at the time I was kind of just turning 30 and getting into that as well. And I wanted to really ground myself in what it meant for me. And a lot of my friends were also going on that similar journey of like, what is this thing, being, person, it, she, they, whatever pronouns you identify it as, what are they doing in my life, and how can I use them to again tap into that joy, into that the fun that life gets to have, because we're here creating. Even if you say you're not creating, somehow you're a creator. We're all creating something. And so I wanted to make sure I infuse that. And I think that this journey of these characters is left unsaid. There's more to these characters. And I hope in a couple years we'll pick back up on them, and through, Q inspiring Amari to tap into his journaling and meditating and grounding himself. And of course, Nana has her own idea of spirituality and religion, but how does that inform what Amari would want? And so I would love to pick up on these characters some years later and see how time has changed each person. And I think that's the great thing about should you get the time to, change and flow. How do you show up for yourself in that way?
I can definitely see this being a series.
I could see a sequel myself, Vash. Yes.
Well, I was just saying a series. Like I could see an ongoing thing where you find, who their friends are, and you find out what happened in Mexico. And I mean, there's a journey to get us to where we are in the film, and then you see how it goes from there and what happens to these people and how they grow. So,
Yeah, and I didn't have a Nana. So I want to see Nana. I didn't have that. And I talked with Bobby and Vash about this. I was like, wow, I didn't know who my grandmother was. I never met her. And so, watching this film made me reflect on that as well. Like, what would my grandmother say to me, to little Alvin, big Alvin right now? And so you touched on that. So I want to meet her. I want that to be the sequel.
And what's interesting is, I did that very intentional. I really wanted this film to be about these two guys. And Nana, she's there and she's always brewing something up. But it's interesting that like you talked about, you may have never had her, but in some ways she still informed who you are to this day. Right. And I think that's the great thing about our ancestors. We don't know what they were doing, how they did it, but somehow it informed how we get to be. And, my family migrated from the Cabo Verde Islands, which is off the west coast of Africa in the early 1900s. And I think about, what if they didn't make that choice to come over here to America? And 4 generations later, here I am, been able to travel to more countries than my grandma ever been able to visit, have more degrees than my grandmother was ever able to attain. But then also learn so much more about my paternal side that I never got a chance to know all through this film. And I think that's the great thing that we get to have, is we get to somehow unearth all of these things about our past that have somehow informed the ways we get to be today.
Nice. I just have to interject that Alma responded to
Alma's
your
chiming
question
in
about what your Nana would say. And Alma says that she would say, "I love you and I'm so proud of you." And then she said, "Trust me, I'm a Nana." So that's your answer coming through, Alma.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Alma.
The ancestors do give us energy that we know. We know to do.
And in the next film, you'll definitely see Nana. And Nana's Men, you'll totally see Nana. She will be an intricate part of the following films to come, as she was in this way. And who knows, maybe it'd be a Cheryl Lee Ralph playing her, or Loretta Devine, because
Claim it.
Come
Nanas,
on.
Okay.
Claim it.
and nanas
Y'all-
don't have to be old.
Y'all heard
Claim
it here
it.
first.
Come on.
Okay.
Claim
Y'all
it.
heard it. Y'all better listen to this, man. Y'all heard what he said. Said
When
it.
he pulls one of the twists back, you can see like
I know.
that's it.
I mean,
That's,
there's
it.
a
That's his
thing.
move. He's like, okay, I'm claiming it.
The flip is real.
I would do
Or
the same.
Alma.
That's what
Alma's
I'm saying.
available.
Alma said, "I'll be there. I'm your nana."
She has claimed that.
Ashton, you filmed it under some unique circumstances, as you were like saying you were using your own space. There's some scenes in there now that I'm realizing how cramped you are. I was like, that must have been interesting shooting that scene with everybody so close. Was there anything that surprised you this go round? Obviously, you had done another feature film, but was there anything that surprised you in the process of shooting Nana's Boys?
I didn't. What surprised me was I didn't realize how long it actually took to make things actually look really good. Like most of that stuff was my apartment already.
Yeah.
I did have a designer come in and really elevate the space, kind of give it these intricacies and nuances that weren't me.
That would feel them, the characters.
That would feel like them and the characters. And I didn't realize, in my head, I was like, we'll just shoot it. But then there has to be lighting. There has to be direction and production design. And I didn't realize, even though I had just worked on this film that did have a budget and did have a massive crew of people and resources, I didn't realize that even in my film, in my apartment with these two characters, the intricacies that it would take to actually capture a cinematic journey of these characters. And of course, being, 3 years out of the filming, and you actually learn in the process. So now on the next film, I'm going to be armed with additional tools to how the process even works even more diligently. And so it's like you learn by doing, and it's so crazy to even in watching things, you don't know what's happening over here. My dog's off on one side, and things are happening that you don't really see, because as a director in film, I'm really focused on this, whatever you get to see in the picture.
Yes.
And being very intentional about what you see, even down to the art. Like there's certain Easter eggs in the film and different nuances that change throughout the production design. In the first half, it's all sunny and lit, but then by the end, it's a different lighting approach. And it's kind of, again, following that roller coaster journey. There's I throw some puns of my previous films in there as well, and things about my journey that are all in there. And my friends catch it, and people who know me catch it. And I hope as the world continues to learn who I am as a storyteller, and they'll go back to this film some 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years and be like, oh, I still see the seed of who Ashton was as a creator and a storyteller. It's still right here. If you go to In the Paint, it's a film about two characters in a little bit different situation, but the intimacy, I just love that these intimate characters, we get to experience them, because my personal thesis is that Black men have trouble dating Black men because we don't see each other enough. In the media, a lot of Black queer celebrities, I'm all for love, but a lot of Black queer celebrities have partners who are other. And because of that, I think it does challenge us in the ways that we date each other. We don't have a Jay-Z and Beyonce. We don't have 400 and 500 years of relationships to pull from. The world has told us that we don't matter and our relationships don't matter. And so it does bring up side effects to how we communicate and connect to each other. I think a lot of our relationships are always grounded in sexual approaches, which is why this film really doesn't have much sex. Because I think that our Black male bodies, especially queer ones, are always over-sexualized. Yes, David has his shirt off. Yes, Jared has an amazing body. He's super fine. But I did not want that to be a point of this film. I didn't need a hot and heavy sex scene to, showcase the intimacy that these characters feel. And so, yeah, that's kind of my thesis, that like if we see more Black men loving Black men, I think it will make it easier for the next generation to do that revolutionary act of loving another Black man.
You can film it next time. It doesn't have to be in the final film, but you can have it like in the.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
I'm just telling you what I.
Oh Lord!
Your taste.
Okay. Yeah. You know, like
it's like
Penny Marshall would say, "Film it."
Okay.
And then decide.
Maybe I do. Maybe I do.
and of course, Vash is like saying, define need. Like, do you need or do you need? Like
need's a very funny word.
Need is it's open to interpretation.
Yes.
And even that scene, you get to interpret what did they do? What went down in this bedroom, especially after all of these things were revealed. Because a lot of people are like, we would have fought. I would have fought him. Like, it would have been some hands.
See, I wasn't going to say anything because I wasn't trying to do any kind of reveal, but yeah, but I wouldn't have been happy.
A lot of people come to me and say, he would have got hands. He would have caught these hands. And a part of me is like, another point, it's not that big of a deal. Honestly, it's really not, right? Like, it is what it is. There's many people living perfectly fine, and we revealed that Amari had already been good. So there's no what would the visceral harm be in violence? And we don't need to see more violence on Black bodies. Like we don't. Especially on a topic that for most of us have been everything we know since we probably came out, right? Like we've had this thing looming over our heads for all that we know. I'm born in '88, so I mean, literally my whole lifetime. And as somebody who is living with HIV, if I was born 20 years before, maybe I would have a different a feel for it. But because here I am in 2023, I'm very clear we'll have a what is it called? When they cure a cure.
A cure. He's like, what is it called?
We'll have a cure in our lifetime. And so, and it's probably out there already, and they're withholding it from us for whatever reasons. But I say all that because it's not. It's a big deal withholding information and not being honest with the person that you clearly set a boundary about. Is where the hurt is grounded in. It's not in what happened and the side effects versus like you lied, you broke our boundary, and here we are.
But it's also
spoiler alert. That was you. All right. Spoiler alert. That was you.
But it's good to have a roadmap for how people can deal with complex emotions and complex relationships. We need those roadmaps. We need people to show us that it's possible to talk through things, to be present, to have your feelings, and then still have compassion for another. So I thought it was a very good, bold, wise, and very forward-thinking choice
to do that.
Yeah, so well done.
Well, you touched on something that I have to ask you about. You are a huge supporter of the Queer Storytelling Project in Boston, and that encourages and empowers LGBTQ plus youth filmmakers. And you recently launched a nonprofit to award scholarships to HIV positive college students as well. I don't want to assume that I know the answer to this question, but please share with us your decision to focus on HIV positive college students.
I mean, I just remember, learning about my status and learning that there's so many other things that we had to deal with. I remember when they told me that my meds were going to cost $1,500. I was like, well, I'm going to just pass away in a few years then if that's the case, right? Mm-hmm. Like, there's so many things that we have to worry about. Even making a choice to move to Puerto Rico, I had to make sure that my medication and my treatment and all the things were still available. Mm-hmm. There's so many things that people have to worry about navigating living with HIV. I want to be able to support people, even if it's a book, you know, just a new laptop or whatever it is. I want to be able to support people so they have one less worry about, you know, in the world, besides, you know, how people are going to respond to them when they choose to be, you know, honest about their status and share, and, or, you know, the discrimination that they might face in the world. And I think one less thing, especially for college students, and that's any age, could be anybody. I think that's something super important to me. I've been able to go to school and have multiple degrees, so I get scholarships for whatever reason. And I know how even a little $500, $250 helps supported, because as we know, these loans ain't getting canceled anytime soon. So $250 in 10 years for somebody who took out a loan for that might be, you know, a couple thousand. So that's really why I was inspired to do that. And I wanted to make sure that, you know, I gave back to people that were navigating similar experiences that I may would have navigated had I caught, you know, have my status changed while I was navigating, you know, going to college as well.
Thank you.
And in supporting these young filmmakers, if you were to give them one bit of advice as a young storyteller, what is the most important piece of advice you could give them as emerging storytellers?
I love working with youth, because especially queer youth, because they have so much. There's the gamut of the stories that they have within them are just kind of, it's mind blowing. You're like, yo, you're 17 and you want to tell a story about that. But in anybody, you emerging, young, older, because emerging could be in your 50s as well, a seasoned professional who's navigated life and just realized that they wanted to go out and tell stories, is just go out and do it. Don't wait for somebody to say you deserve to go, you're worthy enough, because ultimately if you have breath and you're still here on this and existing in this shape and form, you're worthy, you matter. And so go out and do it. Even if it starts small, you start filming on your cell phone, you use your apartment, you use your job that you work at, you use whatever you have within your fingertips, and you make something happen. And then know that because you made those little steps towards something, a bigger thing will reveal itself. Here I am. I made this film literally with savings. People gave me a little bit of coins here and there. You know, I have a film that went to over 10 film festivals, won 2 awards, is distributed, and a lot of films get made and nobody will ever see them. And here is my Black queer story about Black queer men navigating intimate partnerships that the world gets to experience. And it's because I said so, because I said, no, I'm enough, I'm worthy, and I deserve it. Because I did it, maybe that will inspire somebody else to go do it. And then we have this a massive canning of Black queer stories that showcase the ranges, because here we are, I'm talking to seasoned men, right? Like there's more films needed to be told about people like y'all. And it's gonna take filmmakers who are grounded in that experience, maybe one of y'all or somebody, to like tell that story of these older queer men navigating, whether it's dating, living, you know, because we're all on different journeys in the spectrum. And so we need to see more and more of what exists out in the world, because we're here.
Wow. All right, look, like, you know, Lord have mercy. That's how I keep saying, Lord. So, you know, when I get to a place, I say, Lord have mercy. We need to wrap up. I'm going to give it to Vash because we actually, we could keep you here all day. I just want you to know that. But I think if Vash or Bobby, you guys have another question you want to ask?
I mean, well, if you had to summarize the film in a hashtag, what would that be?
One hashtag?
Yeah.
Make it good. Come on now.
Ciao.
I love that I keep making you flip that little dread. That's hilarious. While you think about the hashtag.
Yes, that's the hashtag.
That's it.
Ciao. That's it.
So where can people see Nana's Boys?
So Nana's Boys is available on all digital platforms you can watch movies. So that's Apple TV, Amazon, Google Play,
Excellent.
Vudu, Vimeo. It'll be on DVD at the end of the month. It's going to be hitting cable subscribers as well, Spectrum, those type of things. So it's out there. I've even probably seen some pirated websites already. So that's when you know you made it.
Yes, yes. Like, you gotta see this. You gotta see this for free.
So
He's like, they stole my film. Oh,
literally, if I was on the train and the people who used to sell DVDs on the train, like Nana's Boys,
there you go.
Nana's Boys. Nana's Boys.
Okay,
So
people
it's
walking
out
across the
there.
screen like.
Exactly.
It's out there, and I hope you get to experience it. I love when people watch it with a partner, with their friends, and then be able to kind of debrief after, talk about it, because I think this film, ultimately, some of the things we talked about are things you get to talk about with the people you love, and their answers may inspire the way you approach it moving forward. And I hope that this film really brings up and unearths conversations for, mostly for us, black us to be talked and to talk about and feel seen and be represented, but also others, because they're a part in the journey and allowing us to be seen and giving us space and to feel and be, the outrageous, beautiful Black beings that we get to be.
Well, look, Ashton, first of all, we're going to move to another segment of the show, but we're going to bring you back before we close.
Okay.
But ladies and gentlemen, viewers, please put your hands to fingers or whatever you need to do on that comment section and let Ashton know that you appreciate him. Ashton, thank you so much for sharing you and everything about Nana's Boys with us tonight. Thank you, but we're going to bring you back to say goodbye. But ladies and gentlemen, Ashton Pina!
Thank you.
Yes.
Well,
oh my gosh, what energy.
Was that not amazing?
I mean, his spirit is just refreshing. His energy is contagious. 30 some odd years old. That's what I'm gonna say.
I told you, that smile got me when we were framing the show and putting it together. But ladies and gentlemen, we don't want you to go anywhere because, in honor of Black History Month, we're going to go over a couple of minutes. We want to bring to you, people that we have honored. This month, we're going to bring to you each week a person that we have honored, and we want to take our time to do that right now. So we're going to start off with Mr. Bobby Edwards. If you would go ahead and take the stage.
This week I want to shout out, and we're going to do this very quickly, Miss Osceola McCarty. Osceola McCarty, who came to fame because she became the most famous benefactor at the University of Southern Mississippi. Miss McCarty donated in her life $150,000 to University of Southern Mississippi. And what made it so incredible is that she was a woman of very humble means. She was a local laundry woman who believed that her savings could make a difference in the lives of other people. So she is a reminder, as I see her sitting here, like she is everybody's Nana sitting right there with that Bible.
How about that?
But she donated, a woman of humble means, a laundry woman, leaving this university $150,000, and that donation continues now. That is one of her favorite quotes. My favorite quotes of hers, that I can't do everything, but I can do something to help somebody. And what I can do, I will do. I wish I could do more. I salute the spirit, the energy, and the love and paying it forward of Miss Osceola McCarty.
Beautiful. All right, Osceola. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you. And who do we have next tonight?
Well, I am actually going to go ahead and do Miss, how do you say? What is her name? Her name is...
I don't know. You tell us. Like she's your
right? I'm trying to do a lot on the screen here because y'all disappeared. I didn't mean for y'all to disappear.
Like, what is it? What is it?
Look, that threw me.
He's a multitasker.
I'm going to honor Marion Stokes. Marion is from Philadelphia, and she was a public access television producer, a civil rights activist, a librarian, and an obsessed archivist who was best known for archiving hundreds of thousands of hours of television spanning 35 years from 1977 up until her death in 2012. how she got into this after watching coverage of the Iran hostage crisis in 1977. She saw that the first reports said something about there being Marines or SEALs at the embassy, but over the days that changed. And she realized that television, and especially the news, can be manipulated to change a narrative to get people to feel different ways about things that were going on in the world. And she says, I'm going to be watching these people. And she started recording every channel that was being broadcast in 1977, 24 hours a day.
Wow.
Right? And yeah, at the beginning, there were only a few channels. So it was NBC, ABC, CBS. But over the course of the years that she was doing this, she began to actually archive the creation of all these other channels, right? She chronicled the creation of CNN headline news, Fox, all that stuff. All of those things are in her archives. She even planned her life around it. They even left dinners early because she had to get back because every 6 or 8 hours, some tapes needed to be changed.
Wow.
Right? Yes, indeed. So, and later in life, when she was too old to do it, she had staff come in and do it because she married really, really well and she had some money. Look at her. You can tell she's on.
I love this look.
Anyway.
I love the look, and I love the martini glass.
Yes, isn't it amazing? So
it.
she bequeathed the whole collection to her son Michael, and gave no instructions other than donate this to the charity of your choice. And it took him a long time to find an organization that would take so much information, but eventually he found the Internet Archive in San Francisco. It took 4 shipping containers to take all of her archives. She had over 71,000 cassette tapes that were recorded. It cost $16,000 just for her to, the estate to get it to the archive. And once they got it, it took them $2 million, 20 digitizing machines over 3 years to archive everything.
I was going to say, what are they playing on?
There was a documentary made about her life called Recorder, the Marion Stokes story, directed by Matt Wolf. Premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival in 2019. So Marion Stokes has been called a pioneer and a visionary who committed her life to the preservation of television and truth and history. She is responsible for the largest and most complete television archive. So tonight I celebrate and salute Miss Marion Marguerite Stokes.
All righty, Recorder.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to keep the music playing, ladies and gentlemen. And for my Black history, actually, the person who I'm going to pay tribute to is none other than Miss Hazel Dorothy Scott, ladies and gentlemen. Trinidad-born Hazel Dorothy Scott, born June 11th. Yes, she's a Gemini. Was renowned as a virtuosic American jazz classical pianist and singer, in addition to her successes in dramatic acting and classical music. She was an outspoken critic for racial discrimination and segregation. She used her influence to improve the representation of Black Americans in film. Regarded as one of the best-known African-American entertainers of her generation to shine a spotlight on issues of racial injustice and civil rights. Born in Port of Spain, Scott moved to New York City with her mother at age 4. Scott was a child musical prodigy, receiving scholarships to study at the Juilliard School when she was just 8 years old. In her teens, she performed at Cafe Society. While still at school, she was also performing on the radio. In 1955, her most credited album, Relaxed Pinot Moods, on the debut label with Mingus and Roach, is generally her work most highly regarded by critics today. Her unique swinging style and fusion of jazz and classical influences kept her in demand for performances through the very end of her life. She was active in jazz. She was active as a jazz singer throughout the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and she became the first Black American to host her own TV show, The Hazel Scott Show. I thought it was I thought it was Julia, but I was wrong. Okay. Although a Catholic, in 1945, Scott married Baptist minister and U.S. Congressman Adam Clayton Powell. The couple had one child, Adam Clayton Powell III, but divorced in 1960 after a separation. But in January of 1961, she did not wait. Scott married Easy Obedin, a Swiss-Italian comedian who was 15 years her junior. They divorced a few years later before her return to the United States. Singer-songwriter Alicia Keys cited Scott as her inspiration at her performance at the 61st Grammy Awards, saying, "I've been thinking about people who inspire me." Shout out to Hazel Scott. "I've always wanted to play two pianos." Last year, in 2002, the Dance Theater of Harlem debuted a new ballet about the life of Hazel Scott, and I got an opportunity to see it, and it was all music by Stevie Wonder. If you get a chance to see Dance Theater of Harlem and you see this performance that they have put together in honor of Hazel Scott, it is a masterpiece, ladies and gentlemen. In October 2nd, 1981, Hazel Scott died of cancer at Mount Sinai Hospital in Manhattan. She was 61 years old, and she is still survived by her son, Adam Clayton Powell III. And that is my Black History moment with Hazel Dorothy Scott.
Hey, man.
Thank you all. Thank you all. Okay, that was... Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for indulging us. We need to look. We are a resource, and we need to make sure that we tell you all some things that you don't know.
Yes.
We are not letting this month go without recognizing these great people.
We're not going to do that. And next week, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back. For those of you who have been following us, several weeks ago, author Romal Toon will be here with his new book, I Wish My Dad. A lot of you have been waiting for this show. I Wish My Dad is an invitation for fathers and sons to be curators at the change they are seeking to see in themselves and their families. A very powerful book. He's a powerful author. You guys need to tune in. And before we go and have the words of the week, if we could bring our special guest back tonight, that would be an honor, first of all.
Bam! There's that smile.
There's that smile, Mr. Ashton Pina, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to give you guys our words of the week before we say goodbye to Ashton and end the show. This is by Maya Angelou this week. "My great hope is to laugh as much as I cry, to get my work done and try to love somebody and have the courage to accept the love in return."
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Maya Angelou said that, and that was all actually inspired by the fact that Ashton Pina was going to be on this show tonight talking about all this love. I ain't lying, y'all. I got to put, call a spade a spade. But Ashton, thank you.
No, thank you. And to see, you talk about Black history, you all are Black history and everything. And so thank you so much for choosing and allowing me this space to share with you all and to watching the film and to telling your friends and all the things that come with it. So I'm just grateful and going back to gratitude and love. I'm pouring it out all the way from here in warm Puerto Rico. Thank you so much.
Love it.
I plan to see you in June. That's all I'm saying.
He said, team, salute you, Ashton. We salute you, bro.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for indulging us this evening and allowing us to share Ashton Pina with you. Please, if you get a chance, see the film Nana's Boys. It is incredible. So until next week, and we will see you again on our new episode of He Said.
He said.
Oh,
well, that one.
You guys have a good weekend, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
Good night.
Thank you, Ashton. Good night.
It's great to be doing.